I don't really take the time to consider like the history of the school or celebrate, and I just kind of like move on. I start working again. It's kind of like I completed that goal. Now I have some more to complete, and then after I complete my 4th title, I'm hoping I'll let it soak in a little more, but right now I don't really have time to let myself think about it. I was actually talking to Mr. Kaufman today at school, and he helped me kind of realize that losing at districts actually took a lot of pressure off of me, and so I think that was the best thing that could have actually happened for me this year. So then after districts, I really reflected on that match, and I knew what I needed to do going into state. So then I played the same girl in the finals of state, and I really didn't have any pressure on me. I was like, you know what, I just gotta go in, do what I need to do. I don't really like giving out excuses of why I lost, because that's not giving props to what she did during that match. I think the hardest part is definitely like before my finals match, and really like getting into the mindset that I'm playing the girl that I lost to at districts, and like really focusing on what I want to do instead of worrying about what she's doing. The hardest part of my match is definitely the second set. It was just a fight between me and her. It was like kind of showing that like she really wanted it, but I really wanted it. It was about 2 hours long. So the second set, I couldn't hold serve. So like it was kind of like the whole set I was down 1 game at the changeovers. So I couldn't hold serve, but I could break her serve. And so then it kind of just like goes back and forth between each other. So then at 6-all we had to play a tiebreaker. The second set, I would say like during my serve I'd probably lose it like 15-40, 30-40, and then I'd break her serve the same way. You don't really see that in other matches. It was still a really good set, but it was like neither of us could really hold our serves, and so that was like the big difference in the second set between the first and the second. I don't really let anyone talk to me when I'm playing. I just kind of like get in my zone, and then so I don't have anyone come up to like the fence to me and like talk to me and give me advice or anything. I don't let anyone come up to me and talk to me on the changeovers, because I think I do better when I'm giving myself advice instead of like my coaches. I think every player at state gets advice from their coaches. They go up to the fence and they like bring their water and they're talking to them. But I just kind of like to sit where I'm at, and I get into a mindset where I like to fix what I know, because I know what I'm doing wrong, and so like I like to fix it. When someone's talking to me, I just like, it kind of frazzles me a little bit. My first tennis memory is definitely like picking up a racket that's way bigger than me. Like my dad, he's a big part of my tennis life, obviously, because he's my coach. So I just kind of remember like getting pushed out there and just like doing what I could. Like even as like a little baby, I would sleep on the tennis courts and stuff like that. So for as long as I could remember, I was always on a tennis court or near one. And then middle school, I got very serious. So then that's when I started playing like tournaments more often. And then that's where I learned to become very competitive. And so then that's where I think I learned to love the game. I was there when she won that match. It's kind of a blur, I was a little young, but yeah, I remember feeling the energy of like winning, and now I know the feeling. It's like, it was very nice to watch that, because I actually have a lot of pressure from my family about doing very well. At least I might be putting that pressure on myself, and I would say that my motivation definitely comes from my mom. Actually, she kind of like pushes me to do really well, and when I'm not doing stuff, like when I'm kind of pulling away from the sport, she's the one who realizes it first, and so then she's the one that like pushes me back and makes me realize like what I'm doing, and that if I'm pushing myself away from tennis, I'm pushing myself from something that I love. My dad and I have been actually talking about colleges, and a few colleges have asked me to fly out there and see what's going on with them, but I definitely want to play college in tennis. When I was younger, my dad and I went down to San Diego, and he has a coach over there, or not a coach, a friend, and I call him Coach Fela. He gave me a lot of good advice that I've taken, but the one that stuck with me the most, I asked him what the most important part of tennis was, and all he really says is like, don't let the ball bounce twice. And so he's like, what he was saying there is that like you go after every ball, and you put out your heart to every ball, and so it's like that really stuck with me. And then I've also gotten a lot of advice from another one of his friends up in Maine. I call him Coach George. I've gotten a lot of advice that I've taken from him too. My freshman year, it was definitely a weird year because of COVID, I'd say the competition was okay there, but I didn't really feel any pressure on myself. The second year, it was kind of the same competition. Still, I didn't really feel any pressure or anything. And then this year, I felt a bunch of pressure actually, because I felt like, I've won the last 2 years and I really wanted to win this one too. And I think the pressure from like the expectations of the school, my coaches, my family, it like all comes together, and so then a lot of pressure, and I was a little nervous this year. Even though I kind of told people I wasn't nervous, it definitely did come into play. I would say this year would be the most memorable state title. I feel like I had a lot more competition this year, and then I feel like next year would be my most memorable though, because if I do win next year, because it's my senior year, it's like kind of like my final hurrah for tennis in high school. But so far it has been this year to be my favorite state win. Honestly, I have no time for clubs, but it's really hard to balance it actually. The best thing you can do is like try to keep up with it, and whatever you miss is like you go to your teachers, you try to get like the date extended. But honestly, you just kind of have to work. Like, it's a lot of work and dedication to do both at the same time. I'm just really competitive. Like, I like to win, and so that's like my motivation. Before my match, I don't like to think about like winning or losing though, which sounds weird. Like, I love to win, but I don't like to think about it. So traveling like and playing tennis tournaments has helped me so much. I've become so close with the game that I know almost everything about tennis. Like, I know what to do and stuff like that. And so then you just get comfortable with it. And so then when you're comfortable with it, you're more relaxed. So playing tournaments definitely helps someone who's playing like competitive tennis a lot. And then traveling, you get to like play new players, see new balls, and that also helps me. I've had to go through a lot of losses, especially last summer. I had to get through actually a few losses. And sometimes they're very like, they bring me down a lot. And so sometimes when I lose like a match that I really wanted to win, I become unmotivated. It's not the best, but big tournament that I won was last year, which would be sectionals, which is the tournament at the end of June this year. That's in Yakima. That was a really big win for me. It pushed my confidence a lot, and it just felt really nice to win that, especially because it's one of the biggest tournaments in the PNW. I had a shoulder injury last year, and I would say it lasted for the whole year. I had to go to like physical therapy and stuff like that. So that was really tough on me and my mindset, because it also gave me the question of like, can my body be put through this for the rest of high school and the rest of college? So that was also a question. And then also I get burnt out a lot because of how much I play throughout the year. So then sometimes when I'm burnt out and I don't get that break that I need, that's the question that like pops up, like, can I keep doing this? Like, I feel like I play so much of it. And when I was younger, I was seeing a lot of improvements with my game. But now that I'm older and I've improved a lot, you don't see improvements as much, or when you do, they're very small. And so I think that's something that also kind of unmotivates me. Like I feel like I'm not getting better than I was. Even though I'm not seeing it myself, I am. Around middle school, my dad made me choose between soccer and tennis. So I really had to like think about it, weigh the pros and cons, and then that's when I figured out that like I really want to play tennis and I really want to do this sport because I love to do it. I think I've always kind of known that I really like tennis. The 4A, 2A, 3A, 1A competition is like, it's iffy. Like just this year, my best competition, she goes to North Bend and she's the freshman, and that's who I lost to. So that's like the best competition that I've had so far, and it's my junior year. So I feel like I'm getting good competition later. Obviously, I feel really special. Like, I'm really glad to bring the attention to Klamath Union. I feel like Mazama and Henley get a lot of attention for their other sports, but I feel really glad to bring attention to us here. I would want to make sure that I give credit to my dad. A lot of it is him. He pushes me really hard, and I'm really glad that he's my coach. Even though we butt heads sometimes, I want to put it out there that I really am thankful for Jeannie Landrum. She's a really big supporter of mine. I think if Jeannie wasn't the assistant coach, I wouldn't be playing high school